Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Overflow. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and I am very, very tired.
We both are. My sleeping schedule is beyond screwed up. I'm just not feeling very well today. Not to mention, I went through 2 live streams today as well.
Yeah, that's a killer.
Yeah, real quick, we'll just kind of address what happened. Is some people, seem to have a beef with me for whatever reason. Other people were upset about um, the way that Inglewood was sent out, which, like I said on that stream, if for whatever reason the comic that was sent to you is damaged, please do let us know.
Yeah,
We will send you a replacement with bag and with bag and board this time. We should have done that in the first place.
yeah, that was an oversight on my part. And I apologize for that. Quick thing though, if we have replacements, we'll send them out. I've already pulled a lot of at least the director's cuts. They ended up coming out the worst. But a lot of comics because they had bent corners or um, the edges were not up to par, bent up and crumply. And Micah can attest because I sent him pictures. Like
Yep.
some of them do not look good at all, and I think it would reflect poorly on us if we sent those to you. But we, how many did we get? Like 10% we ordered over to account for these.
Yeah, pretty much. So we've
Yeah,
got
so
plenty. We'll be
we've got
fine.
yeah we've got extras. If we run out of extras, then I'll just have to send you my personal copies.
Yep, exactly. So I'm sorry I'm yawning, by the way, guys. I haven't gotten much sleep, but needless to say, one thing that some people seem to lose their mind about was I said the customer is not always right,
And it's
which
not.
which is the truth.
It is.
And
Anyone who has ever worked retail can tell you, yeah, the customer is not always right. Sometimes the customer is an asshole.
yeah, exactly.
That doesn't
And
mean
that was what I
look,
dealt with today.
yeah,
Was
that,
somebody who claimed that they were a customer at some point, basically being a cunt.
yeah,
And you know, not the first time I've had to deal with that sort of thing. Probably won't be the last. That's just life.
yeah,
But
almost certainly.
the thing is that on occasion, you will get customers. We call them Karens that will demand extra things that they're not really owed, or they're just assholes. You do owe them something for bad service or what have you, but they're dicks to you just to be dicks. Even when you
Yeah,
solve the problem, they continue to complain.
yeah.
You know,
It's like those people who go into restaurants and demand to have their meal comped when, in fact, no, you're going to give them a steak prepared the right way, not just a steak prepared the right way that they get for free.
yes,
Sorry, it doesn't always work that way.
exactly. We basically our business model is that if you pay us for something, you are getting back exactly what you asked for.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
in this particular case, if you paid for a comic and the comic was damaged and and you would like a new one, we got you. No
Yeah.
problem at all.
Yeah, we're gonna take care of that because we want you to be happy. Now, if it's an oversight on our part, like no bags and boards, that yeah, that we can't exactly like send you a brand new comic in a bag and board just because you didn't get one before, but it just so happened to arrive to you in good shape. Like that's a little bit too much. But again, it's a mistake that we're going to own up to and we're going to make right for the future because in that case that's all we can do.
Yep. Also, if you're wondering why I'm not appearing on camera, um, I'm in kind of a weird spot, and here's why. As many of you know, half of my teeth are fake. I had to pull out my denture because the denture cream was, at the end of the day, it kind of wears thin, and it was starting to make me gag. And I can't record an entire over flood in this case, gagging in my own mouth. I would end up barfing all over the place. So I just turned off my camera. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
sound like I'm
that's
drunk, but I assure you I am not. I haven't had any alcohol today. But But I didn't want to. I still want to make sure we got the overflow done for everybody. So, but other than that, the good thing is that by going on that show, and talking to people and just kind of listening and because the thing about it is like that one screwball was just that one screwball, and
Yeah.
people didn't have his back. His friends had his back, but there's not a lot of those. And if you watch the stream, you'll see why there's not a lot of those.
Yeah.
I gave him kind of a piece of my mind. I compared him to Derek Chauvin because the guy was supposedly was a cop, and this guy acts like an asshole cop. And I'm like, this is the kind of guy that like would do what Derek Chauvin did. Like he gives me the creeps. So, yeah, and it's very rare that somebody gives me the creeps like that, especially cops, because I usually have it's very rare that I have issues with police officers. Very rare.
Same with me.
So.
Same with me.
But
I mean, I can count on one hand all the cops who've been assholes to me. So.
Yep, same here, and he's one of them, you know. And it's but more than anything, he sits at home. He's apparently disabled now. He sits at home. He has really bad seizures, and stuff like that. And he basically is relegated to having no life. And
that sucks.
Yeah, and he just takes out that aggression on the world, it seems, and tries to just pick fights with people on the internet.
That's
and
unfortunate.
It is. It's sad, and I pity him. You know, I really do. And hopefully at some point he'll get himself together, maybe find a hobby that's constructive, you know. Because the thing is like things like that, you realize it's not the end of the world, you know.
Yeah, and you don't want that turning people into rage monsters, basically, because we saw what happened with shut-ins like Seattle for Truth, for example.
Yeah, Seattle for Truth is a really good example. I do worry that this guy is heading that direction. That he's gonna continue to do stuff like this, and he's gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah. Please don't let that happen.
Yeah. So.
Last thing we need is for something like that. We believe that, or at least we want to believe in the best in people.
I'm guessing he sees me as his enemy, and I pray for my enemies. So I'll say a prayer for him tonight.
Pray for the people who persecute you.
Yeah. It is what it is, you know. And it's the internet. The internet is a really, very, very, very strange place. Kind of like Camelot.
For porn. It's a silly place.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, Hatman, politics or entertainment?
Let's go for entertainment. I could use something to cheer me up.
All right. Sorry, I'm about to yawn.
We've got 2 of these to do. So.
Yep. Let's see here. So I'm gonna get the hardest question out. Who would be perfect casting as Snake and Big Boss? That's from Gojira.
Ooh.
I am gonna flat out say that I think Kiefer Sutherland would be a great Big Boss. And
David Hayter would be a good Snake.
Live action? No. I would actually rather have the one guy who's been lobbying for that role for almost a decade, Christian Bale.
Yes, I think Christian Bale would be pretty good.
He's apparently a huge Metal Gear Solid fan.
I think he'd do fantastic in the role.
Let's see here.
If you couldn't get Christian Bale, I would say Thomas Jane as Solid Snake. Because there's one part in The Mist where he's, got the soldier dude by the collar and is just, gruffly yelling at him. He sounds just like Hater Snake.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncanny.
Oh yeah, so I know the scene you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd take Punisher Snake. Well, OG Punisher Snake. If of course we couldn't get Christian Bale Snake.
Another Metal Gear question. Miguel Barrera said, "Does this?" I don't know exactly what he's referencing, but he said, "Does this make Otacon the Kyle Rayner of the series?" No, I love Otacon, man. I don't like Kyle Rayner at all.
I guess just like is Otacon a Kyle Rayner type character? I
No.
would say no. I mean, with
Otacon is sort of
oh,
the. He's
maybe he's
probably my
talking about
favorite man on the phone.
yeah, maybe he's talking about the dead girlfriends thing.
Maybe. Maybe. In that case, then yes, he is.
Yeah, yeah. But literally only that. That's all.
But apparently in Metal Gear Solid Rising, Metal Gear Rising, if you call Sunny enough, she'll let you know that Otacon's actually apparently doing really well, and he has another girlfriend, and she's still alive.
But for how much longer?
Yes, that is the question. But um,
Otacon, it's funny because Otacon was the type of guy that you would think, oh, lifelong virgin, and yet he ended up being like the biggest pimp of that entire series.
Oh yeah,
we love Otacon.
That we do. Eclectic wants to know, he says, most fighting games have been going on a trend of taking the slow and methodical approach towards gameplay. Mm-hmm. What do you think caused this trend? I'm not sure. I think competitive is a part of it, because some of the biggest competitive games on the EVO stage have been like that. Because EVO started as a Street Fighter tournament. Mm-hmm. And compared to something like Killer Instinct or Marvel vs. Capcom, or games like Guilty Gear, Street Fighter is much slower paced. The combos aren't as long, though later games have added some pretty crazy ones. And there's a lot more of a focus on foot spacing and countering. I am not a fan of that. I don't think that any. The problem is that Street Fighter is not even the best franchise to do that. So I don't think that they're the best model. I think Tekken is. Tekken is a lot better with countering and spacing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that it's just they thought that because some of the bigger competitive games like Street Fighter are like that they needed to change, that's sort of the direction that they would like to go. I don't think it was wise. I think that
no, I don't think so either.
I think that
it basically turns it into just it makes it way too analytical to play. Mm-hmm. Like you have to be constantly aware, and you have to do like all this research of hitboxes and percentages and everything. I mean, that's what in my mind made Melee so unappealing on the competitive circuit. And it seems like all the other fighting games are going down the same path. Whereas, if I throw a quarter into an arcade machine, I want to beat face. I don't want to think about anything else except beating face.
Yeah,
I don't want to think about
you want to have fun.
The technicalities of it. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there's a difference between that and a competitive circuit. But again, fighting games at their core should not be geared towards those circuits. Like that's secondary.
Yeah, that doesn't make you the most money.
No, absolutely not. And it doesn't make the best games either.
No, I like Street Fighter V is probably, aside from Street Fighter 1, is probably my least favorite Street Fighter game of all time.
Oh yeah, because Street Fighter 4 ended up being really, really good, despite all of the additions that they tossed on there, trying to beat Street Fighter 2 record, I guess. But no, Street Fighter 5 ended up being way, way, way too technical oriented of a game.
Yeah.
Couldn't have fun with it.
I bought it around the time that Sagat came out, and I purchased that DLC, and I tried playing Sagat, and it just wasn't fun. And Sagat has been like my main in every Street Fighter game I've played except for 3, because he's not in it. So that was kind of a bummer. It was just like his style just wasn't fun to play. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, because I don't want to banter around too much. Melee Brawler wants to know, how do we think the PS5 and the Xbox Series X will perform when the consoles launch in the fall? I think both are gonna
Well,
do pretty well. I mean,
I
I
think
have
so
no
too.
reason to think that they've really done anything to piss off the customers. The only thing I will say is that my problem with the Xbox Series X is that I have no games that are going to be coming out on launch for it that I'm hyped for. In fact, the Halo Infinite footage today did nothing for me. It's
I
ba-
actually really liked it.
it reminded me too. It was chasing Doom Eternal too much.
See, I that's the thing. Like, I did see the obvious Doom Eternal hallmarks in there. The meat hook being the most obvious one.
Yeah,
Um,
the
but
map system too.
yeah, though, to be honest, that kind of felt like a mix between Doom and Skyrim,
Yeah,
Bethesda. But anyway, no, I mean overall, like the style looks so much like Halo CE that I can't help but be like, okay, maybe they're actually going to get it right this time, even if the graphics aren't like up to par, which anyone on Twitter can detail for you. Uh, it still looks like more fun than Halo 5 was. Halo 5 was just it was a chore to play.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, it was especially legendary. That legendary campaign it sometimes felt harder than Halo 2's.
Holy shit!
Yeah, just it was the checkpoint system more than anything else. The checkpoint
Mm,
system was terrible. I mean, it would literally save you a checkpoint right before you got blown up by a wraith.
ugh, I hate that. Reach had that
Yep.
problem a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It got patched out in Reach. It
Yeah,
did
that's
not get
true.
patched out in Halo 5. So
Let's continue. Oh, and with the PS5, I haven't heard anything about backwards compatibility,
I haven't either.
and
Well,
that
except
worries me.
allegedly PS4 games, you'll be able to play them, but I don't know anything else. I don't
What,
know.
let's see here. Um, Ultimate Agent wants to know thoughts on Splinter Cell Blacklist.
No
I'm
opinion.
no opinion either. I was never a Splinter Cell fan.
Yeah, I I think I played Chaos Theory back when it was new, but I could not tell you a damn thing about it because I don't remember anything.
Yep, me neither. And then Leonardo Juan wants to know. This is for 1 week. Which fictional story does the concept of revenge as a satisfying achievement? I spit on your grave.
Um,
It really does feel at the end of that movie like there's closure after the last guy dies.
Revenge as a satisfying achievement. Well, definitely not Princess Bride because he straight up questions at the end whether it was worth it.
Yep,
Um, Django Unchained, I think,
that's a good pick.
because he gets revenge on everybody.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, and there's a great catharsis there. I mean, you could even argue he even gets revenge on the institution of slavery.
oh yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one, I think.
Eclectic 1995 wants to know who do you think is the best straight man character in comedy? Um,
That's that's a hard one. I don't really know.
I'd have to think about it.
I don't really know.
Like that's a very tough question. Shit. Yeah, I got nothing. We might have to come back to this at some point.
Yeah, might have to because I don't want to give you your typical answer of like uh, an Abbott or a Martin
Yeah.
because that's I mean that's typical, but Yeah, we might have to.
Let's see here. Leonardo Juan wants to know thoughts on Amazon removing manga and light novel in their store shelves.
Screw 'em.
Yeah, I'm not really too happy with that. I mean, again, blanket disclaimer: any business has the right to do so, but is it the wisest decision? Is the question. You know, I don't think it's a wise decision.
Yeah. I say screw 'em.
Let's see here. Miguel Barrera wants to know what are our thoughts on Tokyo Ghoul.
I've never watched it.
I didn't like it. I couldn't really get into it after the end of the first season. Like after that, I was just I didn't really have the weird thing about it is like I didn't have an opinion on it until the end of the end of the first season, and then when I got there, I was like, you know what, I'm good.
Well, there's that.
Let's see here. Nick White wants to know do we have any expectations for Halo Infinite? Well, I kind of answered my question on that.
I'm about to say the only expectation I've got is that it's good.
Yeah,
that it's a fresh taste in the mouth compared to Halo 5. I'm really interested to see what they're actually going to do with the story, because now they're clearly crossing over with Halo Wars.
Yeah, Halo Wars 2 specifically.
Yeah, the Banished are going to be here. So does that mean, we're going to get some Spirit of Fire action? Are we going to have Chief fighting alongside, Jerome and the other Spartans there? That'd be kind of cool, to be perfectly honest. And then, what? No mention of what happened in Halo 5, apparently.
Yeah, what about Cortana?
Nothing about Cortana, nothing about the created, the AIs. What the hell happened? I don't know. Though in the gameplay trailer, that one brute mentioned a Harbinger, I think, which I guess is what people are calling Cortana now. Maybe that's my assumption, hypothesis. And if that's the case, then why is she working with the Covenant? I don't know. Mysteries upon mysteries, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds.
And then Hardboiled asks the last entertainment question. Says, with Gavin Newsom's constant lockdowns keeping Hollywood from much production, let alone releases, you think there's a possibility the industry powers that be are looking at this and reconsidering their politics? No.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's wishful thinking, bud.
Yep. Keep in mind, who pays the bills there?
Yeah. I will say I always appreciate Hardboiled's constant optimism. I really do. But I don't think that's the case here.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm more of a pessimist than anything.
We're tired.
Else.
We work hard on what we do, and today for me was just a lot of ups and downs, kind of a roller coaster. Yeah. But I mean, I got to talk to Liam a bit, and help, because he actually took that stream a lot worse than I did, because he actually got pretty rattled, or he got his feathers ruffled, and I had to kind of like snap him back to reality. It's like, do not give trolls like this your emotions. They're not worth it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tell them what you think of them, but you don't even need to. They're not worth raising your voice. There's nothing that they're saying that has any value. So, all right, we need to keep moving. So, politics. Blah. Miguel Barrera says, do you think the reason progressives are cancel culture happy is because of lack of spirituality, or because of their own skeletons in the closet, or is it both?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
That's a very good one. I feel like we could do a whole stream about that.
Yeah, this is exactly why I wanted to answer this one on Overflow.
I will try to give a condensed version, but maybe someday I'll do a whole nother thing on it. I definitely think that the it's not a surprise that the more secular belief systems, like communism, fascism, and so on and so forth, are violent or turn violent.
Yeah.
I'm not really surprised by that because they do not hold the same value on life as Judaism or Christianity do. They just don't. They don't see life as a precious thing. Their attitude is literally, sometimes to make an omelet you got to break a few eggs. So, I think that's part of it. There are other people also that, they have their own personal problems. They have a desire for control. Mm-hmm. And because they don't feel in control of their own life, that's why they do it. So, I'm kind of giving the mathematician's answer of yes. But yes. So, that's my thoughts on it.
I think it is a little bit of both. They figure, if they can shine a spotlight on someone else, it'll keep that light off of them and any mistakes that they've made. Though that has kind of backfired lately because of anti-cancel culture people who, in supreme irony, shine that light back on whoever is leading the mob and saying, "Hey, cancel this person because of this stuff that they've done." So irony all around there, but. And then the lack of spirituality, building on what Micah said, and something that we've talked about plenty of times before too. There's no path to forgiveness.
Yeah.
With those kinds of, dare I say, theologies.
No forgiveness in the Church of Woke.
Yeah, exactly. There's no path to redemption. It's you are always bad. You can only be subservient. You can never rise above your status as a sinner, and I kind of think that that does stem from the secular nature of it too, because Christianity specifically is built on the idea of forgiveness and redemption, and it's go and sin no more instead of do what we say, or else you will be a sinner.
Yeah, pretty much. Brian Gilmartin wants to know, if the COVID lockdown ends up costing the Dems this election, do you see them discontinuing it to save face? Well, they can't really discontinue a virus, but I think that if Biden loses the election, which isn't if he loses, then I have a feeling that the media will stop focusing on coronavirus and they will immediately start focusing on how evil Trump is for some other reason. How dare he beat Joe Biden? Joe Biden somehow won, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it'll be a repeat of 2016 in that regard. I mean, they're already trying to pull the he won't accept the results of the election card, which, as we all know, ended up being a reverse Uno card. They tried playing it before.
Yep. Assassin of the Grey wants to know, is it not the height of irony that Hamilton defines the idea of cultural appropriation? I don't know.
In a way.
I guess.
In a way. I mean, you're how many white people are in the cast of Hamilton?
I don't know. I've actually never seen it.
I think. Hey, how many white people are in the cast of Hamilton? Do you remember? None?
Hatman's phoning a friend.
No, George Washington was an Asian dude. Yeah. 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 Okay. No, she's not. Yeah, no, she's not, because Philippa Sue is Asian, as the name would imply. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No white people in the cast that we can tell, at least in the main cast. So, but I mean, it's not written that way. Whether or not you want to call that cultural appropriation, I guess, is up to your own determination. But I suppose it just shines a light on the, well, it's okay to race swap or gender swap characters if it means adding diversity, quote unquote. But how dare you do it for anyone else? Sort of like what we talked about on the last show with Giancarlo Esposito, apparently taking the role of a Latinx person.
Nah.
God, I hate saying that word. It does
It's not
roll
a
off
thing.
the tongue very well at all. It doesn't. No. The fact that it just sort of stops at the end of your tongue and then tumbles off should be an indicator that it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's worse.
Let's keep moving. All right, Leonardo Juan wants to know, do we really need net neutrality, so a new website to be the next Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, etc.? Nope.
I don't know what net neutrality would do for that.
It wouldn't. Yeah, it just wouldn't.
I mean, the only thing there would be declare the social media sites to be public spaces, and therefore would fall into the jurisdiction of the First Amendment. But we've talked about that on several occasions before, whether or not that's even a good idea, because it means government oversight ultimately.
Yeah, it's a two-edged sword, for sure.
Yeah, and I think we disagree on how that should be handled. So
I'm starting to come over to the side of regulation. That's the funny thing.
the great irony.
Yeah,
I think it starts with the internet as being regulated as a public service, or not public service, a public utility.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just this. The more I write, and the more that I think, and the more that I do this podcast, the more I realize it's very, very hard to put me in a pigeonhole. As politically speaking. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I think that those labels are fleeting. At the end of the day, I'm just Micah.
Yeah. I certainly don't like labels like that for political opinions, especially because of how people will just assume what you believe based on whatever label. Like, some people think you can't be a pro-choice conservative, or you can't be a pro-life liberal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dumb. Like,
and then even like the extensions of pro-choice and pro-life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
there's certain circumstances. I've even met people who are quote unquote pro-choice, and basically what they mean by that is in very specific situations, whenever there's no when there's no consent,
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that makes you pro-life.
Yeah.
So, but they're like, but no, because if people who are pro-life are very much all or nothing,
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing. Like, very few people really are all or nothing in their beliefs.
Yeah. People are more nuanced than a lot of folks on the internet seem to realize.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a thing.
It's a lot of assumptions being made.
Yeah. Like, people are gonna freak out over this. The girl I am seeing is a lefty, and we have long discussions during dates about stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And there are some things that we find common ground on, and then and what I'm realizing is that she's not as left as she thinks that she is. I'm not as conservative as I think I am, at least not in her eyes. Mm-hmm. The only thing that frustrates me is just that she interrupts me all the time, and it drives me up the fucking wall.
I'm sorry.
I hate that so fucking much.
I do that too.
I got on Liam about it today. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. So,
the great irony of Hatman never says anything, and then when I try to interject, stop interrupting me.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ultimate Agent wants to know, thoughts on a few people in Arkansas are wanting to make a petition for Sevier County to be a wet county, even though there are towns in it that are already wet. I don't know. That's kind of weird. I'd figure you just petition your town.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the right to do so. You can petition the government for whatever you choose.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's not
I
really
mean,
a whole lot to say there.
yeah. It just seems pretty straightforward. Like, okay, do it. Why not?
Yeah. Melee Brawler wants to know what are our thoughts on the fact that half of the people who got coronavirus in the United States recovered. I think it's more than half.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely more than half.
But no, I had a feeling that's what would happen.
Yeah.
I thought that Sweden's model, when it came to the coronavirus, was the best one. Herd immunity. You know,
Mm.
if it's a
Well, there's a
disease
lot of,
that,
I'm about to say there's a lot of Swedes that would disagree with you.
well, I would assume so. But when it comes right down to it, they had the lowest fatality rate of any country out there.
Mm.
So
Well,
I
can't
they,
argue with
they
the numbers.
yeah they basically said, if you're younger and you're not one of the people that is going to get hit as hard by this, socially distance, wear a mask, blah blah blah. If you are older, quarantine yourself. I think that that's reasonable in a pandemic. Because it's not like we're dealing with something that's like Ebola or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it doesn't surprise me at all. Eclectic 1995 wants to know: do you think it's possible in the future where cities will become you can
Ecumenopolis.
ecumenopolis? That was the word. Yeah, God, I haven't seen that word in a long time. Cities that can hold 1 billion people.
No.
No, because you have to keep in mind the world is 7 billion people.
India has a little over 1 billion people in it.
Yeah.
And look at a map. Look at a map.
Yeah, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, no. You would have entire countries being cities. Like it would be the whole city state thing over again. And I don't think that would happen unless.
Because what are you gonna do about farmland?
Yeah, exactly. Like overpopulation would have to be the thing.
Yeah.
But I think we have a solution to that by the time such a thing would happen.
Yep.
High charities. We'd have high charity cities. No, CNN, I do not care for your alerts right now.
All right, last 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 politics questions. Lead Arto Juan wants to know: is free will the scariest thing for the left, especially if it affects their pawns, meaning minorities, women, and LGBT people?
That's another really good question.
Yes, and I would actually think that it does bother them. They're collectivists, and if you step outside the collective, you are a heretic.
Yeah. Keep in mind a major thing for most. I'll say far left circles instead of just the left in general. Though it's starting to move over into more moderate left wing circles. Is democratic centralism, which is the idea that if the party makes a decision on something, that's it going forward, and if you dissent from that in any case whatsoever, you are an enemy of the party.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's quite literally, you are with us 100% or you are against us. So there is no room for free will there, except when making those decisions. But even then, when the party bosses are the ones with that level of power, are you really allowed to make your own decisions? So no, I would say free will is frightening. I mean, even beyond that, look at how they started attacking the marketplace of ideas. You are not even allowed to explore why bad ideas are bad. You just have to trust the overlords. Trust in what they have decided is good and evil. I mean, there are even churches that are like, no, let's explore the nature of good and evil. I mean, there are churches that aren't like that at all, but but even churches aren't that dogmatic.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? All right. What are our thoughts on Parler, the next social media app that many conservatives have started using? Couldn't care less for it, honestly.
Um, aren't aren't they in a bit of trouble because they require you to verify your phone number to use it?
I have no clue, honestly.
I haven't used it. I have no interest in it, at least at the moment. Um, but from what I've heard, like there've been some privacy issues on there, and if that's the case, then I don't know, dog. I don't know, but I don't like that idea. Just like I don't like how Gab kind of fell on its face. We're a free speech platform, except whatever Andrew Torba doesn't like. Then how
Yeah,
is that any different from Twitter?
I don't know. I just genuinely think that a lot of Twitter alternatives tend to fall flat. One thing I will say is this: there is no such thing as a true free speech platform if you are a free speech absolutist.
Mm-hmm.
Which basically,
Oh yeah,
free speech absolutism is just a fancy way of saying you think anything goes.
yeah.
And
I mean, libel and slander are kind of obvious things that should not go.
yeah, exactly. And when it comes right down to it, there's going to be rules because people like
Mm-hmm.
rules. People set rules for themselves all the time. And if you don't set rules for yourself, something is going to happen in your life, and then you're going to set rules for yourself. It's just inevitable.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, I don't. I'm just not a fan of it because, from what I hear, they are very strict on art that's put up, and I
Mm.
hate that. I'm I'm big on artistic expression, free expression,
Exactly.
and you
Exactly.
cannot have freedom of speech without free artistic expression. They go hand in hand. I would even say they're synonymous with one another.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
whether I put down 1,000 words or somebody paints a pretty picture, it's a statement.
Yeah. It is. It is absolutely. Or if somebody decides to put a crucifix in a jar of piss, it's a statement.
Yeah. Um Miguel Barrera wants to know how long do we think China will last?
Um, I couldn't tell you. I have no earthly idea. My
Yeah,
best guess would be until they get beaten in a global conflict.
like as a nation, I have a feeling it's going to be around for a long time. I just think that at some point the communist regime will inevitably fall.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking. The question
Yeah,
is talking
and
about
and if
communist
that is the
China.
case, then my prediction was within 10 to 15 years.
Mm. I don't know if I share that optimism. Again, I think it would take a global conflict to bring down communist China.
Let's see here. Brian Gilmartin wants to know why is it that in current year people treat self-defense as a privilege rather than a right? Because they're foolish.
I think at its core, it's a misunderstanding of what or the nature of self defense. And people have pointed this out with the whole defund the police thing happening. Like, okay, so you want to eliminate cops when last year you were saying cops are the only ones that should have guns. Call the cops if somebody's attacking you. So Yeah, I think it's just a fundamental misunderstanding, or even a refusal to understand. I mean, the easiest way to protect your rights, your life, your property, people around you, is with a weapon in hand. I mean, all throughout history, that's been the case. You know, the family sword or the family shotgun or whatever. It shouldn't be a privilege.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely shouldn't be.
I believe it's an inalienable right.
I think it is too.
Let's see here. Angry Green Boss wants to know: is the left's attack on the cops the concept of pushing the many, punishing the many for the crimes of the few? Yep.
Yes. Yep. Yep. You can see it in the signs. Good cops quit. Which I think is totally wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it is possible, and that's something that is just a common sentiment among the left. Like, you can't reform systems. Systems have to be completely abolished.
Yeah, it's a very baby out with the bathwater approach.
Exactly. You are going to lose something essential when you do that. So, no. Mm-mm. I mean, you can talk all day about the nature of police culture and how that's, something that will take a lot of time to change, because and how that contributes to bad cops and how they're defended and whatnot. But that doesn't mean abolish policing.
Yeah. I think that there's a couple of things that just have to be considered, Yeah. Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro had another podcast together, which was really, really good. Even though I don't agree with Rogan on a lot of things, there's certain... I appreciate his perspective because he's able to remain cool even when he disagrees with somebody, And granted, if I smoked that much weed, I assume that I would too. But no.
Choice.
All things considered, I really like Joe Rogan a lot, and the thing about, or one thing that he brought up that I thought was great was he said, if you've got 158 good cops and 2 bad cops, you have 2 bad cops.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 158 good cops, 2 bad cops, and the 158 go to bat for the 2 bad cops, you have 160 bad cops.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's my big problem, is that if the police department is a brotherhood, I have a big family, man, and I have never been, like, in family, I've never felt the need to go to bat for somebody in my family who's doing something fucking stupid.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if anything, you call out the family member that's doing something fucking stupid. Like, that is always how it's been in my family.
Yeah,
if somebody's screwing up, they're going to get an earful about it.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, is that I think that if you really care about somebody and you really want what's best for them and you think they're about to run in front of a train, you do your best to stop them from running in front of that train.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think that the actual police just need to stand up and just have no tolerance for this. And one thing that I also think is that the police academy needs to be longer. And I think I think ethics needs to be a big, big, big part of it, because
just like journalism.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ethical policing. Everybody loves a good cop. whether people realize it or not. Everybody loves a good cop.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves a cop that comes up to you and just smiling. Like,
Absolutely.
I've been pulled over by police officers, and I was in the wrong, and I was having a bad day. And even though I was in the wrong, the dude was so nice and
Mm-hmm.
so cool that he made my day better, even though I got a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he basically he instructed me on what to do next. He was really chill about it. He said, "Hey, you know, these things happen. You know, it's understandable. I this is one. It was the point. This happened to me when I was like in a really low part of my life, and I about started bawling my fucking eyes out when it happened. And he's like, "Hey," and he just says, "Hey, man," puts his hand on the car and he goes, "Listen, I get it. It's hard. It's hard, but he goes, I'm gonna do something for you." Because what happened is my registration had ran out, and he goes, "All you got to do in this county, go to your DMV, go ahead and get your registration updated, and bring your proof of insurance to the courthouse. Just go in the morning. They actually they have a line of people that just check in. Um, one of the district attorney's assistants will be there. She just checks to make sure you got it currently, and then they'll let it go." And he's like, "You're gonna be all right." He's like, "You're not even gonna have to pay us a penny, as long as you do that." He's like, so that was really cool of him. He didn't have to do that for me, but he did, and he made my day, and he helped my day that much better. That's part of the reason why I get so pissed off when I see bad cops, you know, or cops that act like they throw their weight around. You know,
Yeah,
that's a bad
they
cop.
ruin it.
That's a
They,
piece
they,
of shit.
they ruin it for everyone else. I mean, there is an image of policing, and if a cop screws that up, then yeah, it's going to ruin the image of policing in the minds of whoever they abused.
Yeah, I remember I spoke with this lady who was part of my dad's church from back when we lived in the Chicago area, and we were talking, catching up, and the concept of cops, because her husband was a cop, came up, and she said, "Micah, back when my husband was a cop, and when you were a kid, the cops knew everybody. They would walk the streets out in the open, and they would talk to people. They would be part of the community. They cared a lot about the community." And she said, "Nowadays, my problem with a lot of police officers is that they don't. It seems like they're not so worried about the community as they are just the shift, and they don't take that kind of pride that her husband used to." And I think that would go a long way. I understand that's really fucking dangerous in some places, but being available for and being kind to people who are kind to you, would be good. I think that even if you're suspicious of someone, being kind goes a long way, because you also have to keep in mind you might be wrong.
Yeah,
Little things like that, I think would help bridge the gap a little bit. And obviously there are going to be some people that are shitheads, but at the same time, I've seen cops and I've met cops and I've known cops that are like that, and they've never had a problem in their entire careers. They'll get complaints on occasion from somebody who they arrested or something like that, but that's expected,
Yeah,
but
naturally,
but if you're getting if you want to be part of your community, if you actually do give a shit about your city, that's the kind of cop that I want to see personally, as somebody who is just a citizen. That's the kind of cops I like, is the guys who give a shit about their town. They say, "This is my city, and because it is my city, I'm going to protect it."
Yeah, I mean, they emphasize the serve part of protect and serve.
Exactly. So, all right, final question. Hank Hill wants to know, theological question: I've been wanting to join my church's worship team, but there's a song we sing on the regular I can't sing without tearing up. Should I volunteer for the team anyway and hope for the best, or refrain from doing so? I wouldn't call that a theological question.
Yeah.
I would say pray about it.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Just pray
Yeah.
about it.
I'll throw something else in there. A worship choir is meant for that, for worship. And I know some people are going to, look at you weird if you're tearing up during a song. And I know that could affect your performance too, if you get choked up when you get teary like I do. And I think instead of asking about whether or not it's right of you to join because of that, it's whether or not that really matters in how you give praise and worship to God and how you lead others in doing that. Because I mean that's what you're doing. That's what the praise and worship choir is doing. But definitely pray about that. Don't just take my word for it. That's the last one, isn't it?
That is the last one.
That's the end of it.
Also, I clicked on Twitter really quick, and somebody's like, nobody calls Chicago Chirac. Bull fucking shit.
Who said that?
Somebody who probably doesn't live in fucking Chicago, that's for sure.
I never lived in Chicago, and I've heard people from Chicago call it Chirac.
There's a fucking movie about it.
There are shirts. There are shirts. Oh my Lord.
Man, and that's why I do not interact on Twitter very much. Twitter can be stupid.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Have to say though, this was a good overflow. Wish I had my teeth in, but wish I was feeling a little bit better. But with all that said, it's been good. Oh my goodness. What a day. Well, Hatman, before we take off, you said that all of the books are sent out, correct?
All of the individual copies. So that is if you got just the standard edition or the director's cut, or like 2 copies of the standard edition, or any of them that included the comic and the digital. Those are now in the mail. All of those have gone out. Your shipping numbers should be on Indiegogo. If you haven't gotten your books, or if the shipping numbers are wonky or whatever, you need to contact me and I'll figure out a way to get that right. What I'm doing next is sending out books for all the people that have ordered like book and poster combos, because we're going to have to ship the posters separate. And because they're not done yet, I'm just going to go ahead and send you your books. The tracking numbers for those are going to be coming to you through email from stamps.com. I'm not sending them through Indiegogo, so we can know who hasn't been sent a poster yet. So when the poster ships, then we can send you the tracking number through Indiegogo, and then the order will be marked as fulfilled, because it doesn't make sense to say an order is fulfilled when you haven't gotten half of it. And then after those are sent out, I'm going to work on the shirt and comic bundles, and that'll include the shirt and the comic that you get from the Windy City special as well. And those tracking numbers will again be sent through stamps.com for the Windy City special, but if you just ordered a shirt and comic combo, those will be coming through Indiegogo. So basically, if you got a poster at all, you're going to be getting 2 shipping numbers, and the poster is the only one that will be sent through Indiegogo. Also, international orders are going to take a little bit longer because customs forms are a pain in the butt. And I had a mini heart attack when I saw, like, oh God, some countries might not allow U.S. imports, but no, everyone on our list is good to go.
Yep,
I have
exactly.
sent some, yeah, I have sent some international orders out already, and one I think to Guam, which is not really international, but it still required a customs form for some reason, despite U.S. territory. But yes, so some of those have been sent out. A couple of Canadians and I think a UK and a Norway. So just all that will still be on Indiegogo. You'll get those tracking numbers on Indiegogo.
Yep. Real quick, also, like we said at the start, we're more than happy to, of course, send these out in bags and with boards as well, and we're gonna do
Yeah.
that from now on.
Yep.
One thing that I found is that we buy from Gemini, um, and we can get 500 boards for $75 plus shipping, so that is not going to cost anything.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to get a lead
Nope.
on the bags, but I have a feeling they're not that pricey from what I've been told. So we'll be able to get that taken care of.
Matter of fact, I think I've got some old comic bags lying around. I think it's just like a thing of 100 or 200, but hey, they're not seeing any use right now, so why not?
Yeah, we'll definitely look into those as well. Um, in fact, I might have found something here. Let me have a look. Um, yep, 100 bags per pack. Oh yeah, and they're dirt cheap. Okay, cool. So we have now have a line on them. So that was not a problem. Again, I apologize to anybody who is inconvenienced by that. Please do, if your book, like, now from the good thing about the Gemini mailer is that it's very hard to damage a book when it's in that fucking thing. Those things are like tanks. But if you get rained on,
really, really tightly.
Yeah, if you get rained on, it will destroy it. So,
Yep.
And that was what the one guy who was getting pissed at me had said, is that his got rained on, which I'd be pissed too.
Yeah,
It is what it is. So we'll go ahead and get that taken care of. All you got to do, really, if your book is damaged, please send us a photograph. Just so we have verification, because we're not in front of you, But send us that photo, just so we can confirm. Give us your backer number as well. We'll go ahead and get you that book, and that's not a problem at all. We'll make sure that that's taken care of in the future. In fact, what we might even do, I think maybe we should even put, like, if we need to, bubble wrap, maybe in the future, just like a small layer of it. Some people do that, and it's usually pretty good too. So
if we can get that to fit, those Gemini mailers sometimes don't.
I actually got some light bubble wrap, like it's a thin layer, but it's still thick enough to protect a book.
Right.
That somebody sent me a comic in, and it was just like one quick wrap of it, but God, those Gemini mailers are genius. Like, seriously, they are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So just want you guys to know that we're man enough to admit when we're wrong,
Yeah.
So, and even if you're mad, one thing I just would ask, if you have a problem and there's something that we need to fix, just come to us calmly, because I will freely admit that the energy that people give me is what I reciprocate. So if you come to me and say, "Hey, Micah, hey man, I really want to read Inglewood, but this book is fucked," we'll get you. Trust me, we'll get you.
Yeah.
So
give us an opportunity to get it right.
Yes.
Before you get mad at us.
That's all we ask. Just that little bit, and we're good. So,
yeah.
Also, real quick, 3 nights, 4 days. We have only 5 more backers till we get to 260, and we're almost at. I think we're like $125 away from 15,000, which is what we call comfortable funding. Basically, meaning that there's zero problems with shipping. Once we get the disbursement, once the campaign ends, we'll go ahead and buy the shipping materials and stuff. So that way we've got it for.
I'm about to say a lot of it is already there, because
we'll stock up.
Gemini mailers still.
Yeah, we'll stock up just to make sure that we got them for the future. Because at the end of the day, we want Sleeveless Comics to last a long time. We want to be doing this for a while. And the
That's the
fact that you
ideal.
guys have you've really shown up for us on this campaign. We haven't gotten as many backers as Inglewood, but dear God, you guys have been, you guys love what we're doing, so we appreciate you guys. That's why I picked the new term of our fans as the Sleeveless Army, because you guys really are, our, you're our heart and soul. You really are. You keep us going. So we'll keep giving you everything that we can every single time. Hatman, do you have any closing words before we take off?
Just a couple of closing words that I know you said you were going to retire, but I will not. Deus Vult.
Well, neither tattooed on my arm, so y'all know what I believe. Well, fuck it, Deus Vult. We'll see you guys this Friday, man. Until then, have a great one.